The most dangerous person in your life may not be the one who hates you. It may be the one you trusted before they earned it, because an enemy attacks from the outside. But the wrong person enters through your confidence, learns your weaknesses, studies your fears, and waits until the perfect moment to use what you revealed against you. And the frightening part is this: most betrayals do not begin with a warning. They begin with kindness, a warm smile, a convincing promise, a person who appears to understand you faster than anyone ever has. They make you feel seen, safe, and important. So you lower your guard, you reveal your plans, you expose your wounds, you give them access to parts of you that took years to protect. Then one day you discover that their kindness was not loyalty, it was entry. This is why intelligent people do not trust quickly. They do not become cold, cruel, or suspicious of everyone. They simply understand that words can be rehearsed, charm can be performed, and even affection can hide an intention. So before you trust someone, watch what happens when you say no. Watch what happens when you succeed. Watch what happens when you stop being useful. Because people rarely reveal themselves when they are getting everything they want. They reveal themselves when they no longer control you. The most dangerous betrayal does not come from an enemy. It comes from the person you trusted enough to stop watching. Think about that. An enemy announces his position. He stands across from you. You know where the danger is coming from. But the person you trust enters through an open door. They learn what hurts you. They discover what you fear. They hear the plans you have not shared with the world. And if their intentions change, they do not need to search for your weakness. You already handed it to them. This is why intelligent people do not trust anyone too quickly. Not because they are cold, not because they believe everyone is evil, not because they want to live alone. They understand something most people learn only after being deeply wounded. Trust is not a gift you throw into every open hand. Trust is access. Trust is power. Trust is permission to enter the private rooms of your mind. And access should be earned. Many people confuse kindness with trust. They believe that being a good person means believing every word, sharing every secret, forgiving every warning sign, and giving endless chances to people who have not demonstrated loyalty. But kindness does not require blindness. You can be respectful without being available. You can be generous without revealing everything. You can listen without believing every story. You can care about someone without giving them control over your peace. The intelligent person does not immediately ask, "Do I like this person?" They ask, "What happens when this person does not get what they want?" Because almost everyone can appear kind when life is going their way. The real character appears during frustration. Watch what happens when you say no. Watch what happens when you disagree. Watch what happens when you receive an opportunity they wanted. Watch what happens when you stop being useful to them. A person's smile may tell you how they feel in the moment. Their reaction to your boundaries tells you who they are. This is the first reason intelligent people move slowly with trust. They know that time reveals what charm can hide. Charm is immediate. Character is gradual. Anyone can perform for a week. Anyone can send kind messages, make impressive promises, and appear deeply interested in your life. But performance becomes exhausting. Eventually, the mask slips. Patterns appear. Contradictions become visible. That is why a wise person does not rush to label someone loyal, honest, or trustworthy. They observe, not with paranoia, with patience. There is a difference. Paranoia assumes everyone will betray you. Wisdom accepts that anyone could and therefore watches what they repeatedly choose to do. You do not need to interrogate people. You do not need to test them with childish games. Life will test them for you. Pressure will test them. Jealousy will test them. Distance will test them. Opportunity will test them. Your success will test them. Your failure will test them too. Some people remain close while you are struggling because your struggle makes them feel superior. The moment you begin to rise, their encouragement becomes silence. Their compliments become criticism. Their concern becomes competition. They did not suddenly change. Your growth simply exposed them. Intelligent people understand this, so they do not confuse presence with loyalty. A person can stand beside you and still secretly hope you never move ahead of them. Look carefully at the people around you, who celebrate your progress without making it about themselves, who corrects you privately instead of humiliating you publicly, who protects your name when you are not in the room, who tells you the truth even when lying would make them more popular, who respects your boundaries when there is nothing to gain. These are not small details. These are the evidence. Trust should not be built on emotion alone. Emotion changes with the weather. Trust must be built on consistent evidence. A person says, "You can trust me." But words are the cheapest currency in the world. The intelligent person listens, but they also wait. They allow behavior to either support the words or destroy them. Many painful relationships begin because someone trusted a promise before observing a pattern. "I will never hurt you. I am different from everyone else." You can tell me anything. I will always be there. These sentences sound powerful when you are lonely. They sound comforting when you are tired of carrying everything alone. But intelligent people know that the strongest promises are often made before the first real sacrifice is required. Do not judge loyalty by what a person says when loyalty is easy. Judge it when loyalty becomes inconvenient. When speaking for you could cost them popularity. When helping you requires effort. When keeping your secret offers them no reward. When telling you the truth risks your temporary disappointment. That is when you begin to see. The wise person does not give full trust because of one beautiful moment. They understand that a single moment can be created. A pattern cannot be faked forever. This is why intelligent people sometimes seem reserved. They may laugh with you, work with you, support you, and still keep part of themselves protected. This is not dishonesty, this is discernment. You do not give every visitor the keys to your home simply because they knocked politely. So why would you give every person the keys to your inner world because they spoke kindly? Your mind is a sacred place. Your dreams are still fragile when they are young. Your wounds are sensitive. Your fears can be used against you. Your private struggles can become entertainment in the wrong hands. You must learn that not everyone who asks personal questions deserves personal answers. Curiosity is not the same as care. Some people ask about your life because they want to understand you. Others ask because they want material. They collect your weaknesses, your mistakes, your family problems, your doubts, your ambitions. Then they store this information. Sometimes they use it immediately. Sometimes they wait until conflict begins. And one day, during an argument, they reach into the private place you trusted them with and turn your pain into a weapon. This is one of the deepest betrayals a person can experience, not because the words are new, because you gave them the words. You showed them the wound and they chose to press on it. After this happens, many people become bitter. They shut down completely. They decide never to trust again. But this is not wisdom either. A locked heart may be safe from betrayal, but it is also close to genuine connection. The goal is not to trust no one forever. The goal is to stop trusting without evidence. There is a middle path between blind trust and permanent isolation. That path is earned access. You allow people closer in stages. You share something small and observe how they handle it. You set a simple boundary and watch whether they respect it. You disagree with them and notice whether they remain respectful. You say no and see whether their affection suddenly disappears. You succeed and observe whether they celebrate or compete. You struggle and notice whether they support you or secretly enjoy your weakness. You do not need to announce that you are observing. The river does not announce that it is measuring the strength of the bridge. It simply flows beneath it. Let time flow. Let circumstances change. Let people reveal themselves without interruption. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is explaining away every warning sign because you want the relationship to work. Intelligent people still feel attachment. They still hope. They still want to believe the best. But they do not allow hope to erase reality. When someone lies repeatedly, they do not say, maybe this time is different. When someone disrespects every boundary, they do not call it love. When someone disappears whenever help is needed, they do not call it friendship. When someone competes with every success, they do not call it support. They name behavior accurately. That is difficult because accurate names create difficult decisions. Once you admit that someone is manipulative, you can no longer pretend the relationship is merely complicated. Once you admit that someone is dishonest, you can no longer treat every promise as innocent. Once you admit that someone resents your growth, you can no longer share every new dream with them. Clarity creates responsibility. And many people avoid clarity because they do not want the responsibility of walking away. So they remain. They keep giving chances. They keep hoping. They keep offering deeper access to someone who has already shown what they do with it. Listen carefully. Forgiveness does not require restored access. You can forgive someone and still remove them from your inner circle. You can release anger without reopening the door. You can understand why someone hurt you without volunteering to be hurt again. A snake does not become safe because you understand why it bites. Compassion is not permission. This is another truth intelligent people understand. They do not confuse having a soft heart with having weak boundaries. A soft heart without boundaries becomes a place where careless people come to rest their feet. You are allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to take longer before trusting. You are allowed to say, I need time. You are allowed to notice inconsistencies. You are allowed to change your opinion when new behavior appears. Some people will call you guarded because they benefited from you being unguarded. Some will say you have changed because the old version of you was easier to manipulate. Some will accuse you of overthinking because careful thought prevents them from controlling the story. Do not be intimidated by these labels. A boundary often feels like rejection to someone who expected unlimited access. Let them misunderstand. The intelligent person knows that peace is more valuable than being perceived as endlessly available. But there is another reason smart people trust slowly. They understand that human beings are not fixed. A person may be honest today and dishonest tomorrow. A person may love you and still become jealous. A person may have good intentions and still cause great harm. Trust is not a permanent certificate you give once and never review again. It is a living agreement supported by present behavior. This does not mean you constantly suspect people. It means you remain awake. The person you knew 5 years ago may not be the person standing in front of you now. Success changes some people. Power changes some people. Fear changes some people. Desperation changes some people. New social circles, new ambitions, new pressures, and new opportunities can reveal parts of character that were previously hidden. So intelligent people do not say, they would never do that. They say, based on their consistent behavior, I do not expect them to do that. Do you feel the difference? The first statement is blind certainty. The second is grounded confidence. Blind certainty leaves no room for reality. Grounded confidence remains open to evidence. Never place a human being so high in your mind that you become incapable of seeing them clearly. Admiration can blind you. Love can blind you. Loneliness can blind you. Desperation can blind you most of all. When you desperately need connection, you may call attention love. When you desperately need guidance, you may call control leadership. When you desperately need acceptance, you may call tolerance loyalty. Your emotional hunger can make dangerous people look like rescuers. This is why intelligent people learn to stand alone before choosing who stands beside them. A person who cannot tolerate solitude will accept almost any company. A person who fears silence will believe almost any voice. A person who does not know their own worth will trust anyone who offers temporary validation. But when you become comfortable alone, your standards change. You no longer invite people into your life merely to fill empty space. You ask whether their presence brings honesty, stability, respect, and growth. You stop thinking, at least I have someone. You begin asking, what does this connection cost me? Some people cost you focus, some cost you sleep, some cost you confidence, some cost you your ability to trust yourself. And that last cost is the highest. Manipulative people rarely begin by demanding everything. They begin by making you doubt small things. They deny what they said. They change the meaning of events. They accuse you of being too sensitive. They make you question whether your discomfort is reasonable. Slowly, your inner voice becomes quieter. You begin asking them what happened instead of trusting what you witnessed. You begin asking them how you should feel instead of listening to your own body. You begin apologizing for reactions they deliberately provoked. This is why intelligent people pay attention not only to what a person says, but to what happens inside them after repeated interaction. Do you feel calm around this person or constantly confused? Do you feel free to speak or are you always calculating how they might react? Do you feel respected or merely tolerated when you are useful? Do you feel clearer after conversations or mentally exhausted? Your nervous system often recognizes danger before your conscious mind accepts it. This does not mean every uncomfortable feeling proves someone is harmful. Sometimes discomfort comes from your own past wounds, but recurring confusion around one person deserves attention. Healthy relationships can have conflict, but they do not require you to abandon reality. A trustworthy person does not need you to become smaller so they can feel secure. They do not punish you for independence. They do not make affection disappear whenever you disagree. They do not demand immediate access to every private part of your life. They understand that closeness grows. They do not rush it. Be cautious of anyone who demands trust before earning it. Why don't you trust me? This question may sound innocent, but when asked too early, it can be a form of pressure. Trustworthy people understand your caution. Untrustworthy people often feel offended by it. Why? Because patience works against deception. The longer you observe, the harder it becomes for someone to maintain a false image. This is why manipulators accelerate relationships. They call you their closest friend after a few conversations. They describe the connection as rare. They share intense personal stories to make you feel obligated to share yours. They overwhelm you with praise. They create urgency. They want emotional intimacy before logical evaluation can catch up. This is sometimes called intensity. But intensity is not always intimacy. Real intimacy is built through truth, time, and mutual respect. False intimacy is built through speed. The intelligent person does not get carried away by the speed of a connection. They step back and ask, what exactly has this person demonstrated? Not what have they promised. Not how strongly do I feel. Not how perfect does this seem. What have they demonstrated? Have they shown accountability? Can they admit when they are wrong? Do they repair harm without being forced? Do they speak respectfully about people who are no longer useful to them? Do they keep commitments when no one is watching? Do they treat people beneath them with dignity? Watch how someone treats the waiter, the cleaner, the junior employee, the stranger who cannot benefit them. Many people perform kindness upward and reveal cruelty downward. They respect power, not people. And one day, if your status changes, their treatment of you may change with it. This is why intelligent people study how someone behaves across different levels of advantage. A person who is kind only when being watched is not kind. They are strategic. A person who tells the truth only when lying is risky is not honest. They are cautious. A person who stays loyal only while you are useful is not loyal. They are invested. The wise person looks beneath appearance. They understand that motives matter, but they also know they cannot read minds, so they do not waste energy trying to guess every motive. They observe outcomes and patterns. You may never know exactly why someone keeps disrespecting you. Perhaps they are insecure, perhaps they are wounded, perhaps they are jealous, perhaps they learned harmful behavior in childhood. Understanding the cause may bring compassion, but the pattern still affects you. You do not need a complete psychological explanation before protecting your peace. The fire may have a reason for burning. You still move your hand away. Many people remain in damaging relationships because they are waiting for a confession. They want the other person to say, yes, I manipulated you. Yes, I was jealous. Yes, I used your trust. That confession may never come. Some people will rewrite the story until they are the victim of the harm they created. Your healing cannot depend on their honesty. Sometimes closure is simply accepting the pattern. The intelligent person does not need every mystery solved. They need enough evidence to make a wise decision. And then they move quietly. This is important. They do not always announce what they have realized. They do not confront every liar. They do not expose every manipulator. They do not waste their strength proving to someone that they have seen through the performance. Sometimes the most powerful response is reduced access, less information, less availability, less emotional reaction, less explanation. You do not need to defeat every dangerous person. You need to stop giving them opportunities to disturb your life. A closed gate is more effective than a long speech about why trespassing is wrong. This is where emotional discipline becomes necessary. When you realize someone cannot be trusted, your ego may want revenge. You may want to expose them, embarrass them, or make them feel the pain they caused. But revenge keeps you connected. Hatred is still a rope. The intelligent person cuts the rope, they learn, they adjust, they become harder to deceive, but not harder in spirit. This distinction matters. Pain can make you wise, or it can make you cruel. If betrayal turns you into someone who betrays, then the person who hurt you still influences your character. Do not allow another person's lack of integrity to become your identity. Remain honest, remain kind, remain capable of love, but become selective. A garden without a fence is not more loving. It is simply easier to destroy. Protect what you are growing. Your plans do not need to be shared with everyone. Your next move does not require public approval. Your progress does not become more real because people know about it. Intelligent people often speak less about what they are building because they understand that premature exposure attracts opinions, envy, and pressure. A seed grows best beneath the soil, hidden, protected, unapplauded. Imagine digging up a seed every morning to show everyone that it is growing. It would never develop roots. Some dreams die because they were exposed before they became strong enough to survive criticism. You tell someone your idea, they laugh. You tell someone your ambition, they remind you of your past. You tell someone your plan, they begin planting doubt. And because the dream was still young, their voice becomes louder than your vision. This is why intelligent people are careful about who hears their unfinished plans. Not every person deserves a front row seat to your becoming. Some should only see the result. Silence is not secrecy born from fear. Sometimes silence is protection born from clarity. There are things you should share only with people who have demonstrated wisdom, because not everyone knows how to hold another person's hope. Some hold it gently, some compare it with their own life, some immediately search for reasons it will fail, some repeat it to others, some pretend to support it while quietly waiting for disappointment. Your future deserves better guardians. This does not mean you assume jealousy everywhere. It means you stop assuming purity everywhere. You allow people to show you what they can carry. Trust is not only about whether someone will betray your secrets. It is also about whether they can handle your truth. Can they hear your pain without using it to feel superior? Can they hear your success without feeling reduced? Can they hear your disagreement without becoming hostile? Can they hear your boundary without calling it disrespect? Can they hear no without seeking punishment? These questions reveal emotional maturity. A person can love you and still lack the maturity required to be trusted deeply. This is a painful truth. Love is not always enough. Someone may care about you but still be controlled by jealousy. Someone may care about you but still gossip. Someone may care about you but still avoid accountability. Someone may care about you but still become cruel when angry. You must evaluate not only the presence of affection but the quality of character. Emotion without discipline is unstable. A person who cannot govern themselves will eventually make their emotions your problem. When they are happy, they promise everything. When they are angry, they destroy what they promised. When they are insecure, they accuse. When they are jealous, they sabotage. When they feel ignored, they create chaos. And afterward, they say, I was emotional. Emotion explains behavior. It does not erase responsibility. Intelligent people pay close attention to how someone handles powerful feelings. Can they pause before reacting? Can they communicate without insulting? Can they apologize without adding excuses? Can they feel jealousy without becoming destructive? Can they be disappointed without becoming dishonest? Self-control is one of the foundations of trust.